Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you about the latest from Enterprise Earth, The Chosen, out January 14th on MNRK Heavy. This album has 14 tracks, 68 minutes in length, and this is the band's fourth full-length studio album. They are an American deathcore band. Now, before I even press play, I look at the duration of the album, I look at the amount of tracks, and I start to wonder about how are they going to construct this record in order to offer a path for the listener, a path that's easy to follow, that has a positive impact in the playability of the record and doesn't overburden the listener. Well, I feel like they deliver it. They created an album that has a lot of volatility, a lot of diversity sound-wise, but that same diversity and volatility exists within the individual song constructions. So alternating these tracks and do it in a way that allows the listener to feel like there's ebbs and flows definitely helps the fluidity of the record, definitely helps follow that path from start to finish. Songs that felt a little bit more outside the box or felt a little bit more disconnected from one another, having interlude tracks really helps bridge those two different worlds. It helps glue those tracks together, and overall it brings a little bit more balance and cohesiveness to the overall design of the record. So from a structural perspective, considering everything that they had, this album really offers a nice flow from start to finish, a nice engagement in terms of finding your path and staying within it throughout all 14 songs. Once you move into the soundscape, I don't think you can define this album as deathcore. I think that would be a disservice to the band, to the record, to the soundscape, to everything that they've done on this album. This is an album that perhaps has its roots in death metal. That's where you need to start. But then everything that came into the sound, everything that created the volatility that exists within this record is deriving from it. You have technical elements, you have progressive elements, you have deathcore elements, you have melodic death metal elements, but even outside of death metal, they went and they brought other things into it in order to make the sound as diverse, make the palette of sound as large as possible with this record. This way, you don't have a box that you have to fall in. You start to define the box with every single song, and that box changes in shapes with every single track. It never really stays the same. The only thing that stays consistent is the overall quality of sound. The sound experience that you're going to get on this album is very consistent, very balanced from start to finish. Regardless of where the starting point was and where the finish line is going to be, regardless of all the different influences that the sound on this album has, the overall execution, what you get at the end, is very cohesive and brings this record together. There's enough of a red line that really connects the album, regardless of all the volatility that stands on top of it. Really nice way of bringing all of these different elements, creating an album that has a lot to offer to the listener. It's nearly impossible to listen to this record and not find something that you're going to gravitate towards. You may not necessarily like every single track because of the influences that they have, because of the diverse nature that they offer, but you're going to find something that you're going to enjoy within this entire record. There is enough there for everybody, and that is definitely a great quality that this album has. Within that soundscape, there are two elements that define the experience: the drums and guitars. For different reasons. I felt like the drums had some consistency that was needed for an album like this. An album that's diverse, that's volatile, chaotic, whatever you want to call it. You need something that grounds the record, that offers a little bit of that path that exists within the structure. You need to find it within the soundscape. And the drums definitely did that. They had this big presence to them. They increased the size of the box. They helped redefine the boxes on every single song, and that was an important element that you could always navigate to, you could always gravitate to, hold on to, that you knew it's going to be consistent song in and song out, making the tracks heavy, giving them volume, giving them depth, increasing the footprint. That's exactly what the drums are doing on this record. On the other hand, you have the guitars. The guitars are a lot more diverse and very hard to control. They go whatever they need to go. They go whatever the creativity took them. You have some tracks that have traditional death metal sound elements to it. You have technical elements coming in. You have progressive elements coming in. You have acoustic guitars. You have a lot of stripped down moments within the record from song to song. You have volatility happening within tracks themselves. Tracks that start in one direction and then change that direction, change the movement, change the tone, the atmosphere, and then coming back again to it. So it's a lot to digest as far as the guitars are concerned, but the execution is phenomenal. When you look at what the guitars are doing in terms of carrying these songs forward, giving them life, giving them a soul, giving them a fingerprint, they definitely do that song in, song out. The acoustic elements really stand out on this record. For an album that is this heavy, this dark, adding those acoustic guitars, believe it or not, it actually enhances the darkness and the somber nature of some of these tracks. And it changes the eyesight of the listener. It makes everything else that is heavy sound even heavier. And it's a beauty to have a record that has this sort of diversity, that uses all the tools that you have available to you in order to make it come alive at every single turn. The solos, for example, the solos are outstanding. There's some solos on this record that capture the essence of the song, but there's also some solos on this record that feel completely out of nature with everything that's happening on the track. And normally that would be a problem, but on an album that is this volatile, that volatility within the track itself, it actually makes everything come together. It makes you gravitate towards specific portions of the song and then overall better understand the overall design that the track has. So the guitar performance on this record is phenomenal. On top of all of this, you have the vocals. The vocals really bring power to this record. The range is really interesting, and I like the clean vocals. I like the clean vocals because they were used very sporadic throughout the entire album. And the same thing that I said about the acoustic guitars adding darkness and making everything else sound and feel even heavier, I could say the exact same thing about the clean vocals. The clean vocals come in, they don't really change necessarily the atmosphere of the songs. They do give a different nuance to the track, but I think what they do mostly is make everything else feel heavier. So when the gutturals, when the harsher vocals come in, they sound 10 times bigger. Creating those ebbs and flows vocally, it's really important because the ebbs and flows are already there musically. So bringing those two worlds together, it allows the songs to feel a little bit more comfortable. It allows the songs to feel a little bit more compact, considering all the diversity that exists and being pulled in so many different directions, track in and track out. All around, the quality of this album is undeniable. I just didn't feel like the whole record gripped me to it, and I want to have the experience of listening to it from beginning to end. This is an album that I can take my favorite songs out of it, and I think it has incredible tracks for a live performance to be added to a set list in order to make a really tremendous impact on a live set. But overall, as an album, this record really falls a little bit short. It falls a little bit flat of what could have been had it been even a little bit more compact, if you will. Once again, great songs, there's great individual tracks, but the overall experience that the record holds is not really engaging. It doesn't really force me to come back to it and listen to it in this format. It's going to make me come back to it, but listen to it in a much different way, in a much more parsed way, so that I can get what I want out of it when I want it. As far as favorite songs are concerned, I want to start off with Unleash Hell, acoustic guitar opening. The melody of that guitar opening then moves into the heaviness of the track. It becomes part of the song itself. So I like that transition, and I like how this song carries forward, how it grows, how it morphs with the guitars, drums, and vocals adding a lot of thickness, making the track feel very robust, very technical as well, and also very dynamic. Bringing the clean vocals in the chorus makes the chorus feel a little bit more melodic, a little bit more melancholic at times, creating the differences between verses and chorus, which one is a lot heavier, robust, powerful, the other one a little bit more down, a little bit more melancholic, a little bit more melodic. This creates the movement that the track needs in order to come alive, making the song feel explosive, but making the song still feel connected at the same time. This track has an outstanding solo section. It brings in a little bit of a Pink Floyd vibe to it, and it fits perfectly with the overall design, with the overall volatility that exists within this track. Following that solo section, going back to the acoustic that started the song and having clean vocals with it is the perfect bridge that brings you back into the chorus and allows the song to go full circle. Perfectly constructed, delivered song. Next you have They Have No Honor, heavy and heavier. Those are the two momentums, those are the two sides of this incredible coin. This song has thunderous drums, very powerful drums, and the guitars help create heaviness and help create the definition of the sound that exists within this song. It just moves you, and it moves you with brutality, and the vocals add to that brutality, they pack it, and then when you sprinkle some clean vocals in, it doesn't really change the dynamic of the song, it doesn't change the atmosphere, but it makes everything else around it feel even heavier. You have the song at 10, you add the clean vocals, and adding clean vocals actually turns the heaviness of the song all the way to 11. That's how this song comes together. That's how it's put. That's how the overall design really feels. then adding a very thrashy sounding riff that really speeds up the momentum of the track is really interesting, because it's like you added fuel to the fire and this song just completely runs away from you. And it helps you transition into the solo section, a solo section that feels a little bit out of place considering the overall design of the song, considering everything that you have experienced up to that point. But when you look at all the volatility that the track has, I don't think you could expect a different kind of solo. So by the end of it, how different the solo sound, it actually makes it feel like it fits perfectly together with all the different elements that this track holds. It makes the song feel a little bit more together in all of the craziness that it has. Last but not least, Skeleton Key, heavy and groovy. I don't think you can separate these two, because the grooviness exists within the heaviness, and the heaviness enhances the grooviness that the track has. It's really a banger of a track from start to finish. It has incredible drums that pack the sound, that ground the track, and then it has guitars that ignite the experience, that move the song forward, giving it life. The vocals help navigate the ebbs and flows, because this is a super dynamic, super engaging song, and the vocals really help ground the experience and really help you understand where you are within the track, where was your starting point and where you're going. But overall, this is a live song. It has tons of energy, it has tons of power, and it comes at you really fast. This is it, Enterprise Earth with The Chosen, out January 14th. Let me know your thoughts on the band. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.